FutureDad 21. How to have confidence in your writing. Quote, "The chief virtue that language can have is clarity." Hippocrates. In this essay I will cover some topics which may help your writing. They are each self-contained, so don't feel you have to read the whole essay to gain the benefit of one topic. I want to improve your writing, not unnecessarily indulge in mine. The topics are 1. Inspiration. 2. Edit to be coherent. 3. Short sentences say it better. 4. Personalize to differentiate. 5. Don't use AI. 6. Write regularly. 7. Read it out loud. 8. Publish if you dare. 1. Inspiration. When it comes to writing, people imagine having their morning shower and suddenly an amazing idea hits them while applying shampoo. No. The actual sequence is you write first, then inspiration comes. Even and especially if you struggle with writer's block, you must at minimum write about anything, even if it's garbage and unusable. Like a muscle, it gets stronger with practice. Also, just like everything else, it takes a few minutes of activity, typically 6, before you're in the zone. See FutureDad 5, Study is Physical, and FutureDad 23, Habits Part 2, How to Create Good Habits, for more on this. Another way to see this is to think of a car battery. If it is dead, most likely through inactivity, you need to push the car a few meters before it will jumpstart. Similarly, if you're stuck with what to write, force yourself to write anyway. Don't wait for a trigger. Don't procrastinate with over-planning what you'd ideally like to write. Just make a mess and tidy it up later. 2. Edit to be coherent. Editing is almost always a painful exercise. It begins when you reread your first draft and you realize what you wrote is actually not lucid or persuasive like you thought, but cringeworthy and unclear. This happens for 2 reasons. I'll describe them in reverse order of importance. Firstly, because the mood you were in when you wrote compared to when you read it has changed dramatically. Your emotions simply aren't as precisely tuned into what you felt when you originally converted your thoughts into text, like a radio signal becoming distorted as you drive behind a mountain. Second, and more pervasively, it's the difficulty of channeling the emotion into the appropriate words. If you mistranslate, it's like watching yourself on video, a painful reminder of your imperfections. There's often nothing wrong with the original emotion, all it's missing is a correct, thoughtful translation. To help fix the emotion to text translator, remind yourself that no one cares as much as you do about the way you come across, and give yourself permission to write with abandon. Then take the time to edit very carefully, in multiple steps over different days. This will temper the worst of your exuberance, so you can convey your thoughts more clearly, with less feelings of cringe at the results. 3. Short sentences say it better. One truism: short sentences are better than long. I'd go as far as saying that long sentences should be black swan events in your compositions. Long, multi-clause sentences only have punch if they are rare. A well-placed long sentence, if it is rare, will make the reader pay close attention rather than drag them off the page. Just now I changed out of the story or the argument to off the page. The more you edit by reduction like this, the more second nature it becomes. George Orwell wrote a fascinating essay on the power of simple language called Politics and the English Language. You can find most of the lesson summarized online. Unless you're a much better writer than George Orwell, I'd advise you to pay heed to that essay. The argument from authority fallacy in action. 4. Personalize to differentiate. Don't be afraid to personalize your writing. It's an expression of your thoughts and feelings in a way that is different from speaking. It is more contemplative and careful in the main, so you don't need to neuter it by second-guessing possible criticism. If you want to write like an average person, then write average sentences like one. Let your spirit go, as it were. Just temper the extremes of emotionality in the edit, as described above. I'll say one more thing on this. It is better to personalize with your ideas than your prose. There's a tendency, if one's ideas are average, to make up for it with complex, flamboyant writing. You will see that in my writing. I fight a perpetual battle with my tendency to over-describe. See it this way. If ideas are the gift you give to others, and the choice of words the wrapping, make the wrapping simple but enticing. 5. Don't use AI. This is easy. Don't use AI. It's lazy, it's obvious, and you won't improve your writing by getting technology to do it for you. Certainly don't expect others to read your writing if it's not authentically yours. And no, it's not like using a car to drive a journey that takes you too long on foot. The journey is the story. 6. Write regularly. I write better in the mornings, but your work commitments may mean that you can't. Whatever it is in your diary, make time to write at a regular cadence. The philosophy of FutureDad 14 Habits 1, Habits Eat Willpower for Breakfast, applies here. Find a time to commence the habit and stick to it, come what may. No excuses. Then, when the time comes to write, it must happen. You simply don't have a choice. The best way to beat the lack of motivation is to circumvent it with habit. 7. Read it out loud. Find a victim, which could be yourself, to read to. It has to be out loud, there's no exceptions. There is something markedly different between reading out loud and reading silently that reveals different mistakes. Reading out loud can expose significant flaws in your arguments, and that's a great thing. You will then need to rework it to make sense, hopefully to capture what originally attracted you to the argument. If not, maybe your idea wasn't coherent in the first place. If you still can't make sense of it after careful thought, then don't inflict it on others. Abandoning bad ideas is a sign of wisdom and observing your own ego. Either way, it's a positive result. You end up writing better prose, or you learn that your thinking was muddled. 8. Publish if you dare. Finally, after all that you may want to publish, there are plenty of resources and places to do it online. You could read it out on a video and even animate it on a video sharing platform. Be careful of censorship, which in the 2020s means almost all digital platforms. If you do get it published, it will probably be ignored. See FutureDad 56, What It's Like to Be Ignored, for more on this. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. If fame was your only intention, then you shouldn't have written it in the first place. Nothing good follows from trying to be famous for its own sake. At best, fame is a strange and inconvenient byproduct of success and not as fun as it appears. The only winning strategy is to express your ideas honestly, in a way that makes you quietly proud and either entertains or helps others, perhaps your unborn children, beyond your own lifespan. As an immortality project, it's hard to beat. FutureDad.